So Helldivers 2 is one of my favorite games that has come out recently. It's one of, in my opinion, the best co-op experiences that is out there, and unfortunately, it has just come under what has probably been dubbed one of the worst decisions that has happened to it since its initial release. I know I don't normally talk about Helldivers a whole lot. I've made one video on it, but I feel like it's very important for me to bring up this issue because even though I make Deep Rock content, there is a lot of overlap and crossover between those two communities because the games are very similar and a lot of people like both of them and a lot of people enjoy playing both of them. Myself included, I love playing Helldivers. I put a lot of time into it and I am very invested in the game, and to see them make a decision like this is a little bit discouraging. If you're unaware, ever since Helldivers 2's release, you have been able to just play the game normally. If you remember when Helldivers 2 first came out, it prompted you to link a PlayStation Network account, but it was optional. You didn't necessarily have to. Well, now, as of a post that they made on Thursday, May 2nd, apparently it is now going to become mandatory. Basically, the way that they describe it is there was a technical issue on release of the game, so they made the linking of the accounts optional. It was not needed. And now they are implementing it to be mandatory starting May 6th. Starting May 6th, anybody who is new to the game will have to link their Steam account to a valid PlayStation Network account. And any people who have been playing before that will have to eventually link their account by June 4th. Essentially making it so that way you can't play this game unless you link your Steam accounts to a valid PlayStation Network account. This is bad for so many different reasons. And before I go too far into detail, I want to make something very, very clear. And that is that this issue, I think, fully stems from the PlayStation side of the coin. I think Arrowhead is no happier with this decision than we are, but they're just the developer and they are kind of unfortunately powerless in this situation to be able to do anything about it. They just make the game and Sony is the one who publishes it, and they essentially have control over this particular issue. So I think it's important that we don't start bad-mouthing Arrowhead because I think that they've been doing a great job with the game. I think this is more up the corporate ladder at the Sony side of it. So I think that that's a very important thing to keep in mind. So this issue is incredibly impactful to the game's popularity. So much so that ever since the initial post, the game has gone from incredibly well positive to mostly negative, and the amount of concurrent players has dropped significantly. It's gotten to the point now where the popularity for the original Helldivers has skyrocketed because of it, because people are saying you don't need to make an account or this, that, and the other thing. So this is a very bad decision on Sony's part, at least in my personal opinion. It's bad for several different reasons, and I'll try to go through them as best I can. Number one is the biggest question that people have been asking is, why is this happening now? We haven't had to link our accounts to a PlayStation account this entire time, and the game has been working fine. Yes, it's been buggy. Yes, there's been some balancing issues, but Arrowhead has been relatively quick to fix a lot of these issues in a timely manner, and there really hasn't been much of a need for it. So why is this a problem? Why did we not need to do it before, and why do we have to do it now? What are we gaining from this? Well, ultimately, I think it just comes down to Sony having control over this. They just want to be able to control everybody's user data and understand exactly what's coming in and out of their game and how people are playing, and them just wanting to have a little bit too much control over the situation, which is bad for a couple of different reasons. Number one, and I don't have any personal issues against Sony. I have been an Xbox player for most of my life up until recently, so I don't have too much experience with Sony as a company. But from what I remember, there has been an insane amount of data breaches that has happened in Sony's PlayStation Network over the past 10 or so years. From what I recall, there was a year, I think it was 2011, where there was 3 or 4 data breaches, huge data breaches. So telling everybody that all of a sudden you need to be linked to that data center in order to play our game is a little bit of an issue for a lot of people, and understandably so, because it's people's data, it's people's security, it's people's safety, and they are not super keen on just letting that go. So essentially, you're telling people, hey, put your trust and faith into this security system that has proven to fail several times before. So people are obviously not that happy about that. And that's not even talking about one of the biggest and most blatant issues is that PlayStation Network is literally not supported in several countries around the world. I don't know the exact number. I think it's like 50 or so countries, or maybe even more so than that PSN is not supported. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, all of Africa is just completely does not have access to PSN, which you're basically just alienating players at that point and basically saying if you're not pretty much in the US, you're kind of out of luck. You can't really play our game. And I think that is a horrible decision to make, especially considering that up until this point, you have pretty much marketed the game to being this big, massive, community-wide experience that a lot of people can work together from all corners of the world. I mean, the game itself is focused and themed around an Earth that is completely united. And here you are essentially alienating probably roughly or maybe even more than half of the world. And then it also just comes back to the simple question as to why does this need to be the case? Why are they forcing this when it was not required beforehand? Why is this something that they are requiring people to do when they did not need to do it beforehand? The game has worked perfectly fine. You clearly have understood where players have been coming from, what people have liked, what people have not liked, because you have adjusted things accordingly. Yeah, there might be a couple of things that people are confused about. I still don't know why the guard dog got nerfed. It wasn't really that super powerful to begin with. But aside from that, and for the most part, they have been nailing it in terms of content, in terms of release, in terms of quality of life changes, in terms of technical stuff. There might be a few hiccups here and there, but it just doesn't make any sense to me why they're doing this, because they have more than shot themselves in the foot with this particular situation. I want Helldivers 2 to survive. It has been one of my favorite games to play with for the last several months, and I think that it is a phenomenal title that really epitomizes the things that I love about games, which is just playing with your friends and having a good time and not really worrying too much about over competition or anything like that. They've made several business decisions that I have really liked, like having it so that way all of the war bonds are available at all times, having constant content coming through that is interesting and unique and constantly giving us new mission types and whatnot. They've done a lot of things really, really well, and it doesn't make any sense that they would essentially do a complete 180 with this decision of just essentially killing the PR of their particular title, because again, it is phenomenal, and now all of a sudden people are just beyond infuriated with this. In my personal opinion, I'm not an expert in terms of, networking or security servers or anything like that, or like a company bureaucracy or things of that nature, but based on what I understand as to what is going on and what I think is something that should happen is Sony should really reconsider this particular decision, because I don't think they understand just how much one of their most successful products ever is going to suffer if they continue with this and they actually go through with this change. I feel like there are other ways that you can achieve something like this without having to force people to do something that, again, some people in the world literally are not going to be able to do. And again, it sucks that Arrowhead is kind of just not really able to do much of anything to it, because they're kind of at Sony's mercy with this. Again, I don't really have any issue with Sony as a company myself personally. I kind of stay out of that circle of the gaming world, but this, in my opinion, is just a really, really unintelligent decision to go through, at least in my opinion. I still want Helldivers to survive. I want the game to continue to grow because it has been phenomenal, but I think this is just going to be something that is going to set it back significantly. Thank you for listening to me. I just wanted to kind of ramble for a couple minutes. I saw that this had happened, and I really wasn't sure what to make of it when I first saw this post, and after looking at the reactions to what people had said and how things are going, it seems that Helldivers 2 is in a very bad situation right now, and I'm a little bit upset about that, and I just kind of wanted to voice my opinions. Again, I want the game to succeed. I absolutely adore this game, but I think that the corporate end of the game needs to kind of think a little bit differently about their decisions and what they are doing, because it's not always about just trying to make a dollar. It's also about making sure that your community is happy and safe and secure. And right now, now they're doing something that is actively going against that. So, but thank you guys for listening to me. I hope you found this at least somewhat informative and entertaining, even though it's a little bit of a grim topic to talk about. I will definitely be back with more Deep Rock stuff later on. I've got some more things planned up, and I just wanted to take a moment to bring up this issue because, again, it is important to me, and I do hope the best for this game, and I hope that Sony can maybe reconsider this idea or maybe do it in a way that's not going to make their entire community upset and publicity-wise shoot themselves in the foot. They knocked it out of the park with this with the help of Arrowhead, and I don't want them to fumble it because this is too good of a product to let be tainted by something like this. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know how you guys feel about this down in the comments, what your thoughts about this are, if there's anything I missed, because again, I don't really know a whole lot about this particular situation or how the more technical things of this side work. I just know that this is a poor decision for them to make and that a lot of people are incredibly upset about this, myself included to a degree. And if you found this video informative, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as it tells me what types of videos you guys want to see. And let me know if you guys want to see more Helldivers content in the future. I would like to make videos about it, but with this, it might be a little bit difficult. For Super Earth Helldivers, I'll see you in the next video.